human society has a tendency to resist or reject or are slow in adopting to this new technology. Same is the case with the blockchain technology. And later on, I'll tell you about a little bit about cryptocurrency as well, because cryptocurrency leverage blockchain technology. And let's reinforce the idea how people are not really ready to accept this new technology with another short movie that I have.
The differences between the internet and the World Wide Web. The differences between commercial online services such as the Microsoft Network, Prodigy, or America Online, and the internet. How to get connected to the web. How to use something called a web browser to navigate the web. What a web page is, and how to search, locate, and download all types of files, from information files to video and audio files.
What is internet anyway? Internet is that massive computer network, the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. Wait, how does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate with. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
So just I want to take a pause and tell you, when internet was introduced, people were confused, and there were TV shows, talk shows, where they were trying to explain what internet is, and many people say it is just a bubble, it will die itself. And today we are, if you can imagine life without internet, whatever we are doing. Imagine that sitting now, maybe 100 years ago, if you are going to tell someone that sitting in India, I'm going to talk to people live, face to face with people in US or any other part of the globe, they wouldn't believe it. So that is what transformative technologies are. And this was this how people reacted with internet technology. The same reaction we see now with the blockchain technology and cryptocurrency.
Is a let's see, how do I do this?
Because you can't describe it.
I know, I'm trying to
Point. But they question it because what is it based on? It's sort of
One of the joys is kind of watching Edison trying to wrap his mind around this thing.
There's no actual coin.
That is true. That is something that trips
I
me
know
up.
this is a dumb question, but I can't get past it.
It took me a little while too.
I'm so antiquated, I can't imagine things that do not have a physical component.
It's really abstract for a little bit.
Don't patronize me.
Horse and buggy. In the early days of the earliest automobiles, people who were buying some of the early cars were being asked, why do you need the car? The horse and buggy work just fine. And those early cars were really slow. But people who wanted to have cars needed infrastructure like roads and services like gas stations in order for cars to truly take off. The same thing happened, and we know how that ended. And the same thing happened with the internet in 1995. You used to see this old school computer. Imagine, or in 1994, 1995, imagine if on that day I would have told you, hey, fast forward, you're going to have a small device in your pocket. You'll be able to download a 2-hour movie, watch it on demand, shop for groceries, interact for free with all of your friends and family, call them for free on Skype, find an apartment anywhere in the world, summon a ride on demand. You would have told me I was crazy, rightfully so, because you would have pointed out my modem can't stay connected long enough to get out of email. The same is true of crypto. We are in the dial-up days, and the critics out there confuse the current state of the station with.
So just wanted to give you an idea how people are slow in accepting, adapting to new technology, and how they don't have the foresight to see beyond the curtain what is coming. And those early adopters are, that's a life-changing situation for people who adopt it early.
The differences between.
So let's now take a plunge into our presentation. What is a blockchain? So right in the beginning, I just want to tell you that blockchain is not a Bitcoin. Many people synonymously use blockchain and a Bitcoin and a blockchain or cryptocurrency and blockchain, which is not the case. Bitcoin is one use case of a blockchain. So let's have this clear in our head that blockchain is a technology and Bitcoin is using that technology. And we will see how it used as we proceed with the presentation. So blockchain is a technology that allows people to exchange peer-to-peer assets and perform transactions without any intermediary third party. So let's suppose two people wants to do a transaction, sending an asset such as money. First person initiates the transaction, all right, which is represented online as a block. And this block is then broadcast to all the people in the network, right? They receive the block, this is transmitted into the network, and all the parties in the network verify its authenticity and confirm and come to a consensus that this is what has been transmitted into the network. They approve it. They approve the transaction as valid. Then the block is then added to a chain of blocks, and that completes the transaction. This is as simple as a simple explanation of what happens in a blockchain. So whatever is that, whether it is a money or a document or some other asset or any smart contract, it moves from A to B through this process. And each time a new block is created and is added to the chain of the blocks, hence the name blockchain. That is what is so simple. It's nothing new. We know the ledger technology. Ledgers, when in the olden days, when people used to do a transaction, two people, they maintain a ledger, record the transaction. It is as simple as that. It's just that it's leveraging technology. So the blockchain is basically a distributed and decentralized ledger that stores data, such as transaction, and that is publicly shared. It's shared across all the nodes or computers in the network. Just give me a second. Somebody wants to join and they're not able to join, I think. Hello? Hello? Yeah? Yes? Yeah, we sent, sorry, we sent you the link, the joining link. Just use that link, Zoom link, and we send you the joining link, Zoom link and password. Just use that one. Yeah, we have sent. Thank you. So let me switch off my phone for a minute. Sorry about that. All right. So basically the blockchain is a distributed and decentralized ledger that stores data such as transactions, and that is publicly shared across all the nodes, computers in the network. Just want to highlight that so that so the storage itself consists of multiple blocks of data chained together, just like a physical chain, right? Hence the name blockchain. Let us dig deeper into it. What really happens? So every block is given a unique value that creates a random string of characters, and we call it as a hash. And this, since this is generated from a hash function that creates a unique output from a unique input that it receives, such as a string, let's say I'm using an example here, CM Charity Trust is a string. This particular string has a unique hash here. Or it could be an array of numbers, or it could be, in realistically speaking, a transaction from A to B, where Ali sends $10 to Gopi or Charlie sends $20 to Kabir, this kind of a transaction, then this, not only that, the block also generates a metadata which has more details of that block, like when it was created, like a timestamp, and what is the position of that block in the chain, so on and so forth. Plus, on top of that, what really unique here is the new block that is created also takes input from its previous block hash as an information to create the new hash. So it is binded with the previous block. And that really makes this immutable. So it cannot be changed or tampered with. That is why it is so secure. So it is not easy for anyone to tamper with that, because once this block is created, it is broadcast to everyone in the network, and then they validate it, agree for a consensus, and then add to the chain. Hence, all these blocks are created and added. If you notice that the previous hash, this new block is referred to its previous hash here. Same cases here. All the new blocks are referred to the hash of the previous blocks. So they are connected in a chain. So this really brings us to the idea of transforming the traditional ledger into some kind of a smart program where we maintain this ledger. So a ledger is a record-keeping book that stores all the transactions of an organization, right? Can keep the track of its economic history. In fact, a blockchain is a ledger which is decentralized. We will talk what is a decentralized and what is a distributed. Decentralized ledger, and hence it is, we can call it a distributed ledger which is decentralized across the entire network. So two people, when they do a transaction, it is recorded in the ledger and it is broadcast into the network and accepted by all the parties within the network and recorded and saved. So what really makes it a distributed ledger? So the ledger is shared with everyone in the network, right? And multiple nodes or computers connected to the core blockchain network. By connecting to the core network, they each get a copy of this ledger, right? All these nodes or computers, they receive the copy of this. They receive the copy of this ledger within the network, and that has the record of all the transactions, whatever be the transaction. It could be a string, or it could be an array of numbers, or it could be a smart contract, anything, any asset. So if there is any change in the copy of the ledger at any node, that would be broadcast across the chain within the blockchain, then they will verify. All the people, all the actors within the network, they have to approve it. And if there is any tampering within the network, if it is rejected, it will not be added to the chain of the blocks. So this makes the entire system decentralized, because everyone has a copy of that ledger and no central entity is required to approve or update and maintain the records. This makes the entire network a decentralized and distributed blockchain network. If there is a new information coming to the network, again, it is broadcast among all the nodes within the network, and they verify it and then approve it. That is why it is a distributed and then decentralized, because there is no, for example, if it is a bank, we have a bank, the bank is a central entity. All the ledger, record keeping, money transaction are maintained by one central entity. So, but that is why if the bank goes bust, and we have recently this incident happened in Maharashtra, a bank gone bust and many people lost their life saving. because they never knew what's going on behind the scene, and the central authority is maintaining all the records, and what they were doing nobody knows. But unlike that, is the real power the blockchain technology is giving to the people, that they can have their own bank. I can have my own bank, you can have your own bank, and we all join this network and we maintain our own assets the way we want. So what is the difference between a centralized and a decentralized ledger? Let's try to compare it. So a centralized ledger is one entity records and maintain the data. The central entity has a lot of power, the full authority to fine or reward, okay? And the complete trust is with the central entity only. Others, they don't have any say in how that ledger is maintained. If you contrast that with the decentralized ledger, everyone is it's trustless. What I mean by trustless is we are trusting the system. Everyone within the network is trusting the system. That's why it is a trustless, that i.e. everyone is trusting each other without knowing who they are. That's the beauty. And every record, and everyone records and maintain the data. Everyone has equal power sharing, and the system is fair and transparent. So once an information is added to the block, everyone know it has been broadcast to everyone within the network what has been added. And so if a rogue element is trying to tamper, then others would know, they will not accept it. The only possibility of someone to tamper with the network is they have to get the power of the entire network. 51% of the power has to be taken over by those rogue elements to tamper the network. And that's not easy. Imagine you're within the globe, if you have nodes all over the globe and people sitting everywhere and they don't know each other. And if somebody tried to take over 51%, you can imagine how much computing power they need to gain to be able to capture 51% of the network. That's almost impossible. Even if it is possible, I think that may not be economical for them, because if they take over after that, then what are they going to do with that? They will not be able to sell it to others who are 49%, right? So there's no point of them doing that. That is another advantage in this blockchain technology. So why do we use blockchain? It is a decentralized, so leads to a trustless system. There is no middleman involved. We don't need a bank. We can have our own bank. There is no agent, how we call it, the dalal. There is no agent or middleman in any transaction between two people. It's completely peer-to-peer, and it is highly secure and no central point of failure, right? And once an information is broadcast into the blockchain, that information, that data becomes immutable. So it cannot be changed. It cannot be. You can go back into the history and see what information was that, and you can add new information, but you're not able to change that information. So blockchain is the first use case of basically a triple entry accounting. The third entry and triple entry accounting is cryptography, where we have a cryptographic account of the transaction stored permanently and immutably. I just underline the word cryptography and immutably to emphasize what they really mean. Cryptography means it's a kind of think of it as a fingerprint. Every individual have a unique fingerprint. Similarly, whatever data is broadcast into the blockchain, it generates a cryptographic signature that is unique to that data and nobody can change it. So if someone tried to tamper with the data, let's say I have a sentence and I change a full stop in that sentence, then the complete cryptographic signature of that new change will be broadcast as a new signature in the chain, and then others will not accept it because they have the original data with original cryptographic signature. In blockchain, the differentiator is therefore that no one owns the ledger or all participants own the ledger. That's very powerful. So once the information in blocks, all the blocks are connected. So if anyone tries to tamper with any of the information, once it is broadcast, then it will break the chain. So if the stored data is tampered with anywhere in the chain, the links will break in a very obvious way, right? So let us again recap the definition. The blockchain is a distributed and decentralized ledger that stores the data, such as transactions, and that is publicly shared across all the nodes or computers in the network. All right. What are the components of blockchain? We have a ledger. We discussed about the ledger, a distributed immutable historical records. Then we have a peer-to-peer network that stores, updates, and maintains the ledger. And then we have a membership services where users authentication, authorization, and identity management is taken care of. And then we have smart contract. Now, smart contract is not like a physical contract. It's just a program that runs on the blockchain. The word smart is given to that program because it is smart enough to maintain all these functions of the blockchain by itself. So the recent example is the Ethereum smart contract. And then we have another component of the blockchain, which is a wallet that stores users' credentials, our like a public key and the private key. And then the events or the notification of the updates and actions on the blockchain. So once we create a blockchain, we add information, and new information is added. That's an event, okay? Then we have a system management that component creation, modification, monitoring. Then we have system integration. System integration is the integration of blockchain with the external systems. So who are the actors in the blockchain technology? This is what we have seen so far is the technology itself, but who are the actors in the blockchain technology, or what skills do I need or do we need to get into this technology? Let's look into some details, right? I really found this on Blockchain Training Alliance. They have pretty good explanation of the actors in the blockchain, who are the actors and what skill sets they need, what is the requirement. So if you are trying to apply for a job in this new technology and you want to apply for a solutions architect, then who qualifies to become a blockchain solution architect? What background you need? You need a background in business analysis and technical project management. And you have some programming skills like in Go or Solidity, JavaScript, or all these programming languages, especially Solidity if you're working Ethereum platform. Then what knowledge does a blockchain architect possess? So the difference between proof of work, proof of stake, and other proof systems and why they exist. You can go through all these details, why cryptocurrencies. Sometimes, blockchain, once you create, you cannot run the blockchain. You need a cryptocurrency to run that, because that cryptocurrency is used as a gas to run the network. So some blockchain networks need a cryptocurrency to run. The difference between public and private and permission blockchain, how blockchains are written to how blocks are written to blockchain, we have seen just now, and where cryptography fits into the blockchain and the most commonly used systems. Common use case of blockchain, common use case for private and permission blockchain, what is needed to launch your own blockchain, common problems and consideration in working with public blockchain. Other than that, you have awareness of technology behind common blockchain. When is mining needed and when it is not? So we just come across this word mining for the first time in our webinar. I might be able to talk a little bit more when we come to the section of cryptocurrency, what mining is. Let's move on. And other thing like fault tolerance, Byzantine fault tolerance, consensus about blockchain, what is hashing. We just see what is the hash and how address public keys and private keys. So an architect need to understand all these stuff. If you know, if you are good in all these, you can apply for a solutions architect blockchain, or you can be your own startup where you can do all these and then create a product on blockchain and then you can sell it. Now, if you want to be a blockchain developer, so what is the roadmap for you to become a blockchain developer? Again, if it is a permissionless blockchain route, or if it is a permission blockchain route, what are your goals and objectives? So these are the requirements. Are you interested in working with more consumer-facing solutions? Then it's a permissionless. Or are you interested in working with Fortune 500 companies where on enterprise type projects, then you have to go for permission blockchain route. And then pretty much programming requirements are same like Java programming skills, JavaScript, Solidity, Go, and understanding of, public key interface and Dockers and all that. So I will leave you to go through this. And if you're interested, I can also send you the presentation later on. You can go through in detail, or I will share the link of this information from Blockchain Training Alliance, and you can yourself go through in detail and decide what suits you best. Let's move on. Now let's briefly talk about the use case of blockchain, where blockchain, how this new industry is disrupting, which are the industries that are being disrupted by this new technology. The first and the foremost that come to my mind is healthcare, medical industry. Imagine I'm a patient, I'm traveling around somewhere, and suddenly I got ill. Wouldn't it be nice that the doctor where I am trying to reach to the local hospital is able to see the history, my medical history, at a click of a button, and then is able to treat me then and there, seeing what was my medical history. That is a possibility now with the blockchain technology. And this is also a new business opportunity for some of us who might be able to create this. And, there are hospitals and big hospitals and doctors who would love to have such kind of information at a click of a button, the patient's information. So business to consumer use case. The benefit to the consumer from a blockchain solution is clear and established. First, it is a transparency to the consumer, because nobody, you know it right in front of you what information is available. Then there's a responsibility from the suppliers. Then there's ethical sourcing, because you can validate whether this is a tampered product or a genuine product. Then you have a labor verification, and all this information is in an immutable shared view, so nobody can tamper with the data. And then you have consumer increasingly want more transparency in services and product they purchase. So some areas of focus are food supply, traceability, resources, labor, and logistics, and the compliances. We can go into details. Let's say food supply. What is the source of food? We know there's adulteration of food. From field to the dining table, you don't know how many supply chain it has, and where it is tampered, we don't know. But with blockchain, we would be able to see where our food has been traveling till it reached to our table, and who were involved in producing to preparing the food. Just an example. And what are the other verticals that are heavily exploring blockchain for transparency, such as we have financials, logistics, charity funding, This is for us, particularly some of us, whether it is MCC, Salama Trust or CAMP or MFRD, if we have any charity or any NGO, people do funding. They donate to us and we get the money. So we use this money to help people who need money. So we can implement a blockchain technology project, and that is inshallah my intention. I will pursue that to see that CM has a complete blockchain technology as we go forward, that all the donors would be able to see with transparency where their donation has been spent, and all the recipients, all the records, complete transparency will be there for charity management. Then we have this another very good use case of agriculture, supply chain management. Then we have tracking precious metal, you know, diamond. Diamond is a gold, these are mine, and then it gets into jewelry. Some of the jewelries, they are adulterated. If it is, they sell it by saying it's a pure gold, but it might be mixed with some other metals, impure metals. Then this is an important industry where the supply chain can keep a record of the genuineness of the product of this jewelry, and so on and so forth, many more verticals. So that's business to consumer trust chain initiative. This is already existing. Some companies have already started working on this jewelry industry to track from mining till showroom till end user consumers. Everything is being recorded and a transparent ledger is being maintained. That's a very good thing. You know that what you're buying, what you're paying for is a genuine, pure jewelry item or a diamond. So it's very difficult for people to dupe you. And then the blockchain business to business use case. There are some challenges with the typical state of business to business transactions. Like if you have n number of repetition of the processes, heavy dependency of papers and heavy dependency of people, excessive fees and charges, right? Also, when it comes to the implementation of blockchain in business technology, some results could be like more efficient process, increased security of documents, obviously, and then reduce dependency of paper, because everything was a network. You can access the moment you have your public key and private key, and then reduce dependency of the people. The following, these are the industries that are clearly using or looking at blockchain technology seriously: the finance, international trade and commerce, supply chain, verification of ownership. Verification of ownership in the case of, let's say, land record or property. Once you buy a property, you know, if it is on the blockchain and it is now you are the owner of a house, and once that information goes into blockchain, nobody can sell your property to a third party and by tampering your property documents. That's the power of blockchain. And I'm sure we will see that even in India or anywhere in the world, that people will migrate the entire property management system, document verification system into the blockchain. Maybe some of us who are attending this webinar can come up with this idea of creating a blockchain product for the government or the quasi-government and sell them this tool so that they can migrate the records, property records to this technological platform. Another use case, especially from a country like India, where democracy is now deteriorating day by day. So we can use this technology for elections and voting. Now we all have Aadhaar card. So once Aadhaar card is fed into the network, a unique hash is created for every individual, which can be used for voting. This is a powerful application, and the existing government or any government in the future, they cannot tamper with that. You might argue that they can hack it. They cannot hack it. Even if they hack it, they have to control more than 51% of the network, which is nearly impossible. The amount of energy and the amount of hardware and software that they have to occupy to hack it is very, very expensive. This is another use case I just wanted to bring to your notice. And at a national scale or at a state scale, who are implementing or using blockchain, it's very interesting. It's not far from where we live. Dubai is, as a smart Dubai office project, SDO 2021, they are implementing blockchain technology at a national scale. So the idea, 3-point idea what Dubai government has introduced is the government's efficiency. So implementing blockchain technology in government services, industry creation, supporting the creation of a blockchain industry through empowering startup and business. So especially the young people who are attending this webinar or the professionals who are at the early stage of the career, if you quickly get into this technology, learn some programming languages and do some dummy projects and prepare yourself industry ready, the moment countries like Dubai or anywhere in the world, if the moment they are ready to open their economy, you will have a very good job opportunity in such economies. So this is the right time to put some effort, maybe a couple of hours in a week or 1 hour in a day. If you can spend time getting a grip on this technology, that would be really good for you. And basically the idea behind this Dubai government is they want to be a thought leadership leading the global thinking on the blockchain technology. And we know that Dubai, the rulers of the Dubai, they always are after new things. They're the one, or they get to introduce new stuff sooner than anyone else before. Yeah. Now in agriculture, it's a vast area. I'm actually quite intrigued by the technological advances and in the agriculture industry where they are implementing, because my profession, although it's a satellite remote sensing, as a scientist, I have applied satellite data into agriculture industry to demonstrate how farmers can benefit from the information that we provide them using satellite data. But I'm also quite intrigued by the intricacies of a plethora of technology that is going into the agriculture industry as a whole. And I have the intention to develop a product using this blockchain technology within this agricultural ecosystem. You can see which areas of agricultural industry. Here we are showing 10 possible use case of overseeing farmers' inventory, enhancing agricultural supply chains, modernizing farmers' management software, IoT, improvement in agri-tech, fair pricing. That is very important. I just didn't get the idea that just 3-4 months ago, I bought onion 15 rupees kilo, and I also bought at 330 rupees kilo. I mean, I haven't seen such a volatility in any agricultural product anywhere I lived in the last 2 decades, except here in India. So can we do something about fair pricing for these agricultural produce? I'm sure farmers are not benefiting for the 330 kilogram onion. Somebody else, the middlemen, are benefiting, and the blockchain technology eliminate these middlemen. So can we do something about that? Let's have a series of webinars, inshallah, after this webinar to achieve something. Oh, another industry, agricultural subsidies oversight, community supported agriculture, mobile remittance for small entrepreneurs or small farmers. So the farmers can be paid right and then and there the moment they deliver their produce. Right, this is powerful. And during the lockdown, if you notice, because we were out there trying to bring food to the people who were suffering due to the lockdown, especially the daily wagers, we noticed that even the farmers were suffering because of the lockdown. They were not able to sell their produce, especially the tomato growers in nearby areas. They were giving free of cost because there was no supply chain logistics. That's a special case maybe because of the lockdown, but how we can leverage blockchain technology in such situations and scenarios to help farmers from that point of view, that is also very interesting. I mean, idea of business if someone wants to take up. And greater accountability for multinationals is another important area. Then incentivizing sustainable practice. This is also very good for the entire ecosystem, that you can incentivize sustainable practices without exploiting the resources. All right. So now let's change the gear. Some of you might be interested to know what are cryptocurrencies. I'm sure, maybe eagerly waiting. And I had some precursor discussions with some of the people saying that this is haram and halal discussion going on. People are not venturing into, because it's a gray area and all that. Whether cryptocurrencies are halal or haram, of course, as a Muslim, that should be our first and foremost criteria, whatever we are involving ourselves into, whether it is a halal or haram. So what you see here are different types of cryptocurrency. I will just spend a couple of minutes talking about Bitcoin and why not many people know blockchain technology, but most of the people know what Bitcoin is because they heard Bitcoin. It went from like maybe a few cents, maybe less than a cent few years ago when it started, to now the Bitcoin today is like $11,000 per one Bitcoin. And some of the people could not digest the price fluctuation. So what I will do is I will try to prepare another webinar completely focused on cryptocurrencies, and I will discuss in detail about that. Today, I just want to remove the curtain from you from the point of view of Sharia. What scholars, those scholars who have done research on what cryptocurrency is and what was their opinion, what was their fatwa on this. Let's just have that first, whether Bitcoin is a halal or haram, okay? I hope this, okay, yeah, it's working.
دع الأيام تفعل ما تشاء وطب نفسا إذا حكم القضاء ولا تجزع لحادثة الليالي فما لحوادث الدنيا بقاء.
Islamic ruling on cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are a new form of decentralized commodities, and the point of cryptocurrencies is to be a type of currency that is not backed by a government, it's not backed by a known institution, it's not backed by the banks, and it is created by groups of people that, generally speaking, are not too sympathetic to banks and governments. Last year, the Fiqh Council of North America dedicated a significant amount of time to talk about cryptocurrencies in our meeting, in our annual meeting, and we went over this issue in a lot of detail, and by unanimous consensus, we issued a fatwa. To be more precise, we will be issuing a fatwa within a week or two, but the fatwa has been finalized. I have drafted the initial draft. It's just going to be circulated amongst the other members and then released, inshallah ta'ala, maybe by next month after Hajj. But it is unanimous. We all agree. Cryptocurrencies, firstly, our fatwa is about Bitcoin only, not about all of the currencies, because every currency has its own ruling. The general ruling is that we did not find any reason to prohibit cryptocurrency. And therefore it remains at the default, and the default is that everything is halal unless proven otherwise. Memorize this simple principle, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. When it comes to mu'amalat, when it comes to eating and drinking and interactions with money and walking around and whatever you want to do, everything is halal unless the Sharia says it is haram. So if two people are debating, is it halal to drink water from a plastic bottle or not? One person says it's halal, the other person says it's haram. Who needs to bring the evidence? The one who says it's haram. The one who says it's halal does not need to prove anything. Everything is halal unless the evidence is that it is haram. Is that clear? So we looked at every single criticism of cryptocurrency.
And we looked at a number of fatwa committees around the globe. Some of them said it is haram, some of them said it is halal. And we looked at this in detail. And from us in North America, we concluded that none of them raised objections to the level that it makes it haram. So they said, for example, there is no value to cryptocurrency. And the response to this is value is relative. Value is relative. What you find valuable, others find value is relative. They said, of the objections, they said there's no government that backs it. The response is, you don't need to have a government to have some. So all of these, we looked at every objection after the other, and we came to the conclusion, there is no issue that will make cryptocurrencies haram in general, and Bitcoin specifically, we looked at, and we said it is halal to mine it, it is halal to invest in it and buy and trade in it, but the value of fiat currency will apply to cryptocurrency, which means spot trades must occur. You must trade it on the spot value right then and there. When you purchase, you get your money back. You cannot just delay and have an unknown value. Just like if I exchange dollars for pounds, if I exchange rupees for liras, it has to be done instantaneously, yadan biyad. So too, cryptocurrencies must be done immediately. You cannot have a transaction that is delayed. And we concluded the fatwa by saying that even though we say that it is halal, still there seems to be a gray area, and especially in terms of safety, in terms of wisdom, we as the Fiqh Council, it's not our job to give investment advice, but we do agree with those investors who said, do not invest in cryptos more money than you're willing to lose, because the Muslim is not foolish. And we should not spend our money foolishly. But the base ruling, cryptocurrencies, and in particular Bitcoin that we looked at, is halal. As for every cryptocurrency, we have to go look at that. But generally speaking, the major ones, Bitcoin, Litecoin, the ones that everybody knows about, these generic cryptocurrencies that are famous and are already established, there's nothing in the Sharia to prohibit them. Yet we caution that people should not be foolish, because Allah wants us to preserve our wealth.
So let's move on. So the whole idea, what I'm almost at the conclusion of my webinar. We will open the room for question and answers. But the last slide, what you see here is an interoperable cross-chain network. We were just talking about one simple blockchain, okay? Whether it is a Bitcoin blockchain or Ethereum blockchain or any other blockchain, whatever you name it. But that's restricted to its own network of chain, right? What if we are required to have interoperability, cross-chain network? So the technology is now improving to accommodate interoperable cross-chain network. These are the new advances. And so there's a lot of opportunity for businesses and for the technologies and for the programmers to get into this new technology and establish themselves strongly, because it's just at infancy, believe me. There's huge scope in this new ecosystem. Inshallah, so a series of future webinars would focus on learning how to create blockchain and its application. The example that I have shown you earlier of the block and how the hash were generated, let me see. So thank you very much for your attention. If there are any questions, let's open the room for question and answers. In the meantime, I'll try to see if I can do a quick demonstration of how we create an hash. Let's open the room for questions.
Please go ahead.
Shahid bhai, there are a few questions in the chat box. Shahid bhai, can you go through those questions?
Sure. Yeah, so there is a question from Brother Abdul Ahad Amir. He asked how privacy is maintained of broadcasted data in network.
So the moment you put an information on the network, it generates a hash. So the real actual information or the real asset or the, let's use example, 100 rupees. I have broadcast 100 rupee transaction on the network. Actual 100 rupees is not stored in the database. It creates the hash of that 100 rupees and it saves that hash on the network. Hence, the privacy is maintained. Let's see this small program here to demonstrate how hash is created. So I will not explain the program itself. All the people working with the Java, it's just simple, very simple program. They can easily know. And non-IT guys, they may not be able to understand everything. So I just want to demonstrate how hash is created. Let me go back to the slide. Okay, this slide. So we were talking about this here. So I put some kind of information. Let's say I put this transaction into the network and CM shared address, let's say. So it creates a block, and that data or information get a hash function. It's a signature, like a fingerprint for this information that I broadcast on the network. Now this block, this information is stored in this block with this hash, with this cryptographic signature. That is how it is hidden. That is how it is private. Only people who want to access it using their private key and public key would be able to again go back to this information using the hash function. So how does it work in a program? Let's see. Oh, power cut. Bhai power cut gaya abhi. I hope my battery will support the rest of the presentation. So I just executed this small program where I created a block. Now, when we create the block, a new block, because a new block has to refer to a previous block to create its own hash. So you should have asked me when you first create how the first block gets referenced, because there is no block before the first block. So for that, what we do, we create a dummy block. It's called a Genesis block. This Genesis block has no data. It's a Genesis block and it has no data, it's a 0. But what it does is it creates its own hash. Now that hash is now referred to the first block, which has a data. I'm saying here that the first block I've got some amount, $6 or 6 rupees, let's say. So this block is now created, its new hash, the amount 6 will be represented in the network with this hash, with this signature, this 802291. That's the hash of this data, amount 6, which is referred to the previous block here, previous hash of the Genesis block, which has no data. But then a block which is created after the second block, this is the first block which we have represented with index 1. Will now the second block, which has an index 2, has a new hash which is referred to the first block's hash, 802291. This is reflected here, as you can see, is referred to the first block of the first hash. This is how the chain of blocks are added one after the other in the entire network. So that's how the privacy is maintained. All right. Any other question?
Yeah. So there is another question. How the Python can play a role here in blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I actually forgot to mention that Python is a very powerful tool, especially and also very easy to learn and easy to deploy. You can create on any platform, whether it is Java or Python or exclusive programming languages like Solidity and Go. What I personally suggest, and it is my experience, that we should have skill sets in most of these languages if you want to play a major role. If you just want to do a limited role, then just one language or one programming language or a couple of programming language will make you get a job. But if you want to play a bigger role in this technology, try to get more language skills, including Python. Sure. All right.
There is another question.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, can you hear me? Mr. Abdulwasey sir?
Yeah, tell me the question.
Brother, I just want to ask you, do we have any use cases, test cases on the agricultural field so that we can represent to some government, so that we can have some insights to be provided to the government so that we can...
Going on your side?
Yes, yes, I'm from Bangalore. Shahid, I'm Shahid.
Can we wait for 2-3 minutes because
Sure, just wait for the azan. Yeah.
Meanwhile, brothers can type your question in the chat.
And if I'm sure if there is an interest among people, then we can plan for more sessions where we can try to learn. Anyone else who are very good in this technology want to come up with a workshop or presentation that can benefit in the interest of everyone, let's collaborate and take this further. In fact, there are a lot of business opportunities. The brother who was asking the question about how this can be implemented in agricultural technology, I'm going to prepare an exclusive webinar on use case, agricultural industry and healthcare industry. And with the idea that we develop a product and then either we do it as a company or we are able to sell the product to others who are in the industry. And if anyone is interested, just reach out to me and reach out to Brother Shahid. We will see how we can do that.
Yes, I'm back. So this is, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. So myself.
No problem, no problem. That's okay. Within a few minutes, you will hear azan from my side as well.
Okay, I'm Sheikh Shahid. I'm from Bangalore, and
can you speak a little louder?
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Abdul. So I'm Sheikh Shahid. I'm from Bangalore, and the question from my end is about the test cases or use cases on agriculture or on healthcare, because I personally have different customers. Okay, so my idea was to present them these use cases so that we can try to implement something to different customers, and from there I or we as a team can take them to a different level. That was my actual idea about this thing. Yeah. So I need some help or guidance, or as a team we can work and we can definitely.
One of the main area of agricultural industry is if you can optimize the supply chain side of the agriculture. Optimize it using blockchain technology, that's a huge saving, and many people would want it.
Okay.
So just think about that, do some research. First and foremost, I'm telling this to myself and to everyone else, research knowledge, read and learn and indulge yourself into this technological advances whenever you find time, beside your routine. Believe me, we are far behind. We need to work hard.
Yes.
Inshallah. So any other question?
Yeah. So there is a question from Brother Mohammed Sultan. So if someone doesn't have any coding background, so can he go for blockchain? If yes,
yes, if you if you are if you have a lot of industry experience, if you are at a senior position and you want to get into this stream, then what you can do is you can do just a certification in blockchain technology, where you would get to know the inside out of how this technology functions, and then you can have people working for you who are good in programming. That's a possibility, yes.
So there is another question: if someone is from non-IT background, what are the opportunities for him?
Well, actually, first thing is we have to have a domain knowledge expertise. Whatever you want to do, you should have expertise in your domain. Once you are good in expert in your domain area, even if you don't have IT background, I don't know the people who are CEOs and managing directors and chairmen, how many of them, if you go by percentage, are IT guys? Not many, except in IT industry. Other than IT industry, not many people have any idea of what IT is, but still there are IT people working for them. There are IT people developing programs, codes for them. It's possible. Only thing is you should know if somebody is trying to cheat you, whether you are able to find out that they are cheating. Because, you know, a programmer, if a smart programmer, he can tell you that he's working for you. After completing the entire project, he will just walk away with your project. You get nothing. So you need to be clever enough, and you should have checks and balances. If you're able to do that, if you have the confidence of doing that, then even a non-IT can come into this, sure.
Yeah, this is Mohammed Zairuddin from Chennai. Hello?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Yeah, this is Mohammed Zairuddin from Chennai. I did software testing and manual testing. Is there any possibility where we can find?
I think there is a disturbance. Can someone repeat that question for me, please?
I think the last portion I also missed it. So he's from software.
Brother, can you just type the question in the chat box? Then the admin will read out for me.
Could you please go ahead messaging in chat? And there is another question meanwhile. What cryptocurrencies can be invested based on future prospects and also legal?
Yeah, well, when I was preparing for this webinar, so many people called me and asked me whether from Sharia point of view, can you come up with some stand? Because, you know, there are many idiots out there who just talk out of thin air. So it is very important for us to find out the basis from the Sharia point of view, whether what we want to do is acceptable within the limits of Sharia or not. This is every individual Muslim, adult Muslim's responsibility on themselves to check what is halal and what is haram. That's the reason why I introduced that North American Fiqh Council video within my presentation to clear the air. The other thing is, this is, I mean, historically, I can tell you, the problem with us is we are very late and we are very slow in accepting the technology. Let me give and reinforce my comments with some examples from the historical point of view. Loudspeaker, when it was introduced, our people did not accept and use the loudspeakers in the masajids, some of them saying that it's a voice of a, you know, it's not an original voice. Same case with the modern education. They say modern education will deviate people from straight path. They did not accept modern education. It's the same case with the acceptance of technology, like taking pictures, photos, and videos. But now, almost all scholars have videos on YouTube about the lectures. So we are pretty slow in accepting technology and adopting technology. In that sense, blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. In fact, I will not be able to do justification to Bitcoin, exclusively Bitcoin, if I just put 5 minutes and tell Bitcoin is halal and that is where we should go. I think it requires another 1 hour presentation on just Bitcoin to explain what Bitcoin is, why we should bring our attention to it. Peer-to-peer transaction with complete freedom, security, safety, independence without a third-party intermediary, and with immutable data. It's a very powerful technology. The inventor of Bitcoin is Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody knows who is that, a one person, is that a group of people, or who are they? Nobody knows. But the good thing what he or they did about Bitcoin is they locked the program with a scarcity of 21 million Bitcoins. And then you have to mine it to get those Bitcoins. It's not available in thin air. A lot of computing power, you have to solve mathematical puzzles using program. And then you are able, and you have to validate the blocks and add the blocks to the chain. And those nodes or within the network who do this networking validation, adding the new blocks that are generated within the network, get incentivized with some Bitcoins. And every 4 years, these get reduced, the incentive get reduced. It's called halving. So I will prepare another webinar in detail about this. But right now, I think it's still the cryptocurrency industry is in infancy. It's just starting. It's not just started. People are working on it. A lot of people are working on the technology, improving. So we will have another webinar. Just wait for the announcement. But if you want to invest in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, you can do it on your own risk, do your own research. You can invest it, no problem.
Okay, so I think the question from Brother Zahir, he has some network problem, Chennai, I think. So from his side, so his question is, he is into software testing. So he wanted to understand if any opportunity is there for him in blockchain technology.
Brother, if you are good in Java, Python, and some of these, maybe you can get skill sets in Solidity and Go programming language, you can take a plunge. You can just switch to this new platform very easily, no problem. Since you are testing softwares, I'm sure you are doing it because you know some programming skills, right? That's why you are able to test the softwares, debugging and all that. A lot of projects that are in infancy in blockchain technology give you either they pay you in their token or coins if you do some debugging for their software, or they give you some just part of a small fraction of Bitcoin, which you can preserve it and sell it at a later stage when there is a huge demand. And in fact, the price fluctuation of Bitcoin is based on supply and demand. So you can still, as a software tester, work in this new ecosystem. Sure, you can.
Yeah.
By coming to the blockchain certification part,
yeah.
Is it the Blockchain Council of India? From there, we need to take the certification, or do we have any global recognition for that?
Just go and browse consensus. You get a lot of lead in that consensus. It's a symposium. Every year they have this in major cities of the world. Consensus. They do the webinars and seminars and conferences on this new ecosystem. You can get a lot of leads and information from there about certification, about job opportunities and all that. Other than that, many universities in the United States are running MOOCs, massive online courses, right? MOOC, which are free if you don't want a certificate. You can learn for free. But if you want certificate, there's a small fee, which are like a few $100s, which is worth, in my opinion, to get this technology and this certificate. So you can opt for paying a few $100s, like $300, $400. It's not very expensive, and you get the certification from them. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Okay, and the last question, we need to, can we have more sessions going forward so that we can...
Yeah, people who are not from the IT business, IT background, but people who are investors who have business ideas, who want to do business in blockchain technology, they can reach out to us via either phone or email or WhatsApp me directly or Brother Shahid, and then we can take it from there. We will inshallah plan new sessions, more sessions. In fact, I'm trying to develop a complete training program in these Python or Solidity, combination of all these, and we will have our own blockchain technology project, inshallah. Make dua. Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah, inshallah. Can I get the contact details, please?
Sure. The organizer of this session will give all the details for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So there is another question.
All right, go ahead.
From Khalid. So he would like to understand like the comparison between the existing products that is available for the supply chain and finance, right? So how you compare this with the blockchain technology?
So if you know how the existing supply chain is working, what are the glitches? Let's say a farmer sitting in Sangareddy or Siddipet, he wants to sell his produce to someone in Latin America. Traditional supply chain management, you can imagine what he has to do to be able to sell his product to the customer in Latin America, and how long does it take for him to send that product to the buyer in Latin America? What are intermediary supply chain hurdles he has to go through, all that, right? You can imagine that. If you know what is traditional supply chain management, I'm sure you have already imagined what kind of, how much time, how much effort, how much money, how many middlemen you have to pay to get your product to the end user in Latin America sitting here. With blockchain technology, what happens is it's a smart contract. You have a product and you have a end user. You both peer-to-peer agree on exchanging this transaction within the ecosystem of the blockchain technology and exchange information, and you send your product. So the smart contract blockchain will inform both the parties about the product, its origin, till it reaches to its destination, what all is happening with the product from A to B without any tampering from the intermediary. You just have to send it by courier, and then everywhere it's been updated where the product is. There's no third party interference, there is no delay. And the moment the receiver receives the product, the transaction is complete. The A and B, they are both happy. It's a lot of intermediate steps are eliminated using this blockchain technology. I'm not sure if I convinced with my answer, but if you know what is traditional supply chain management, how many hurdles, first thing is, how would the farmer sitting in Siddipet would know who is going to buy his product in Latin America without trusting him? But with blockchain technology, it's a trustless system. Once he enter into the ecosystem of network, a trustless network, then he don't have to worry. He will receive the value for his asset.
Yeah, so for the freshers to start, like, so somebody asked how to go about it from the skill zero level.
Skill zero?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where is the skill zero for him or her.
Yeah. So any new person after BTech or any bachelor degree, you can consider that.
Bachelor in IT or non-IT?
Yeah.
Let's say if you're a bachelor in IT, you're not a skill zero to my mind for this technology, okay? But if you're a bachelor in non-IT, maybe you're skill zero, take I have shown you which are the industries, which are the verticals that are adopting this technology pretty fast. So you should have at least an understanding of any one of those vertical. Then you can take it from there, build on that knowledge, right?
Yeah. Participants are asking about the links and the videos to start with.
Sure, I will, I will share everything, inshallah. We have email address of all of you guys who registered, so we will send the information to you. So let's wrap it, right?
Yeah, I think we are done.
Okay, thank you again, once again. Thank you very much for all of you, especially once again, I thank MCCI, MFIRD. And I just want to tell you that MCCI have their own charity called Salama Trust, and I'm a member of both Salama Trust and MCCI. We have a lot of synergy. We are helping. So you can see, do you see the poster behind me, a banner behind me? That's the CM and FEDAL organization. I don't know if you're able to see that behind me. So do support these charity organizations, and let's grow from here. Jazakallah khairan.
Yeah. So from the participants, yeah, you can go ahead.
I can't hear. Can you be a little bit louder?
Yeah, your voice is breaking, I think, Brother Saib.
Oh, okay.
So he was trying.
All the participants and Dr. Abdulwasey sir.
Sorry. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, he's giving vote of thank.
Oh, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so the other participants also who are expert in any of your field, if you want to go out for any webinar, please reach out to us. Inshallah, we can have that arranged for you as well, and you can share your expertise with us.
All right. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khairan kaseera.
All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair.
Yeah.
Wa alaikum assalam.